Marty Schottenheimer, coach for 21 years in the NFL with 4 different franchises, died Monday at the age of 77. Washington, San Diego, Cleveland, Kansas City. Unbelievable. 2 losing seasons in 21 years. You know, we talk from time to time that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season during his time as the coach of the Steelers, and people say that in kind of hushed, reverential tones. Well, 21 years in the NFL and only 2 losing seasons with 4 different teams, 4 different organizations. To go through 4 different teams and only have 2 losing seasons, that's remarkable. And 8th all-time on the wins list with 200 and a winning percentage of over 61%, 200, 126, and 1. There he is, 8th on the all-time list. And, one of the guys who was really, from the mid-'80s into the middle part of the last decade, he was just part of the fabric of the NFL, period.
Part of the fabric of the NFL. You talk to any coach, they'd go, man, you got to play a Marty Schottenheimer team. You better be ready, detailed, tough, have creativity, everything like that. Again, there's an issue here. There's an issue. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? Because he didn't win the Super Bowl? I mean, that's all it comes down to now. That's all it is. I don't understand that. It's 8th all time. Teams are always awesome. You just talked about it. 21 years. I know he didn't get to the Super Bowl. It's tough. John Elway ruined that. Yeah, the 98-yard drive. Ernest Biner fumbled in a walk-in touchdown. I mean, again, sometimes it's bad luck in football. I don't know any other way to say it. But I'm sick of that aspect of the Hall of Fame. I'm kind of sick of the Hall of Fame altogether. But the Dan Reeves, the Marty Schottenheimers of the world, they got to start getting more respect. It's ridiculous right now.
Can we put the graphic back up with the all-time wins? I'm just curious to see how many of these names are going to jump out as guys who are already in. Of course, Shula, Hallis, Belichick will be. Landry is. Andy Reid will be.
Right.
Paul Brown is. Chuck Noll is. Dan Reeves should get there. And here's where Schottenheimer, Reeves, and other former coaches are going to benefit from the way that they've reconfigured this Hall of Fame process. It used to be that coaches were in that same bucket with the players, where you had the 5 modern era finalists every year. You were competing with quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, defensive linemen, everyone to try to get one of those 5 seats. They have changed it now because they have created a separate track. Every year there's a spot for a coach. This year, Tom Flores got that spot and got in.
2 Super Bowls. He's finally in. What the hell took so long?
But, Chris, my point is they have that track because he's not competing with players. Coaches aren't competing with players anymore. And coaches who have gotten in, like Tony Dungy, had to get in as part of this quagmire of all different shapes and sizes of players. You create the separate track, Dan Reeves, Marty Schottenheimer, Don Coryell. You're going to see guys get in that had been overlooked.
Yeah, but these are like guys that should be in.
They'll get there.
I know. I mean, I guess. I guess. But the word quagmire should not be talked about with the Hall of Fame. That just tells you that too many non-Hall of Fame football players are being put in the Hall of Fame right now.
Right.
That just tells you. The Hall of Fame used to be special, really, really special. It's watered down right now. I don't know what to say it. It's not the same. It's now it's become, it's political, popular, and we'll figure out more ways to get more guys in on an every year basis. And to me, it's lost its luster over the last few years.
Look, it's a museum in Ohio that they want people to make a destination, and every August it becomes the center of the NFL's universe. And the more guys who get in, the bigger the deal it is. You can't have a year where you look around and say, well, there's no one worthy this year. Let's just cancel the parade. Let's cancel the ceremony. Let's cancel the game. We don't have anyone worthy. Because I've made the argument multiple times recently that the mic drop that Mike Chappell did to get Peyton Manning in, where you have no conversation, no discussion, no debate, maybe that's the bar. Maybe those are the only guys who should get in. You shouldn't have this never-ending hall of busts that's going to extend on eventually forever because you're putting 8 guys in every single year. That's a different issue altogether.
Yeah,
but my point is coaches now have that separate path.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get now. Is it always better for a guy to get in during his lifetime? Absolutely. But I think that the problem will be rectified by virtue of the fact that the Hall of Fame has changed things up. Back to Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, let's do that.
Look at some of these losses.
Oh, I know.
And his last game as a coach was that Marlon McCree. Marlon McCree had the interception of Tom Brady. The game was over. McCree fumbles the ball, and that's that. And the Patriots end up winning the game, and they go on to play the Colts the next weekend. And I'm telling you, the Chargers matched up very well with those Peyton Manning teams.
Oh.
And I think they could have gone in to, well, it would have been Indianapolis coming to San Diego, not the Chargers going to Indianapolis, because the Chargers were 14-2 that year. They would have had a very good chance of beating the Colts, and it would have been Chargers-Bears in Super Bowl 41.
Yeah, it's a shame. That's a tough one. I mean, he's the king of tough playoff losses. He really is. I mean, I've never saw a guy have more heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losses in the playoffs. Great coach. I mean, yeah, that Charger team was really damn good. It really was. I mean, it was a special football team. There for about a 4 or 5 year period, it was certainly one of the most talented teams in football. But I again grew up in the era of Marty Schottenheimer. I know he was a guy that when my dad had to play the Cleveland Browns and everything like that, he always knew. They practiced and did training camp against the Browns, back in the day. And I just remember him always just, oh, man, Marty Schottenheimer, just he knew it was going to be tough, physical. I think in a lot of ways, my dad was happy the Broncos won, the AFC Championship game. I think he was more, and I'm not trying to disrespect anything like that, because I know my dad was, crap scared of John Elway and what he can do. But I think he was also very wary of what the Browns were and how they matched up with his Giants, and how Marty Schottenheimer, his physical football team and all that could be a pain in the butt with 2 weeks to prepare. So Marty Schottenheimer, great. Needs to get in the Hall of Fame. All these guys got to get in the Hall of Fame a little bit. I'm sick of this stuff. Dan Reeves needs to be in the Hall of Fame. We can't do it after they pass away. That's not cool. Should have already been in.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.